Hello there, amazing students and all the lovers of chemistry out there. I'm so excited to be here with you on this next video yet again in this series on how to balance chemical equations. So right now we're looking at some of the mistakes that people make when they balance chemical equations. What are some of those mistakes? Now, balancing chemical equations can be tricky, I won't lie to you, especially if you are just starting. So common what are some common mistakes that students make and how do you avoid them? Number one, some students change subscripts instead of changing coefficients. Now look at this. We have hydrogen reacting with oxygen to produce water. In this case, the case that has been labeled wrong, you are not permitted to change the subscripts. You are only permitted to change coefficients. So in the place where subscripts are changed, it is wrong, but you can change coefficients. You can only change coefficients, not the small subscript numbers. Subscripts are part of a molecule's identity. Mistake number two, forgetting to count your atoms properly. Sometimes, because of rush and this desire to just complete your questions on time, students rush and they miscount atoms on one side of the equation. So always double check your atom counts before finalizing your answer. Look at this, for example. We have ion Fe plus oxygen O2 to produce ferric oxide. The incorrect balancing of this equation is on the right hand side, but look at the correct balancing here. Now, because the person who did the incorrect balancing did not count properly, you can see the equation is not balanced because on the left hand side we have just one atom of ion or Fe, but on the right hand side we have two atoms of ion and Fe. The same thing for oxygen. Oxygen is not balanced because on the left hand side we have two atoms of oxygen and on the right hand side we have three atoms, so it is not balanced. But if you check out the correct balancing, you can see that all the atoms are equal on both sides of the equation. So one tip I have for you is, just like I did, use a table to compare the number of atoms before and after you balance. Use a table just like I did. Alright, mistake number three, ignoring the law of conservation of mass. Now, the number of atoms must be equal on both sides. If you don't balance correctly, you violate this fundamental law of chemistry. Now, look at this unbalanced equation. We have propane C3H8 reacting with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Now, you can see that this equation is not balanced because if you check well, you see that carbon has three atoms on the left side, but on the right side has just one atom. So how do we balance it? You can see we've introduced the coefficient to make it balanced. So the tip is to always recount all atoms after making changes, after you make your changes. So mistake number four. Sometimes I've never seen, this mistake is quite uncommon, but sometimes students make these mistakes. They use fractions instead of whole numbers. Now, sometimes students end up with fractional coefficients. Now, it can be helpful in certain methods, but you should make sure that if you use a fraction for any reason, convert it to a whole number. Now, look at this example over here. You have this equation, and if you check very well, you'll find out that this equation is actually balanced. It is balanced, yes, if you check. But in this case now, because there is a fraction, we need to make sure that there are no fractions in our coefficient. So what do? We need to take out this 2 that is a denominator on the left hand side of the equation. So to take it out, we simply multiply everything by 2 to take out the fraction. So when we do that, we end up with this balanced equation. So always express your balanced equations with whole numbers. Always express your balanced equations with whole numbers. Mistake number 5, forgetting to check your final action, your final answer. Forgetting to check your final answer, I beg your pardon. Even if an equation looks balanced, always double check. Are all the atoms equal on both sides? Are the coefficients in their smallest whole number ratio? Always do that. So up next, we're going to be looking at some of the practice questions that I have for you. But just before we do that, remember I have packaged this entire lesson, all the videos in it, into an ebook. All the things taught in this playlist, I've packaged it into an ebook where we go in depth with step-by-step guides to balancing equations. Multiple balancing methods have been explained in it, fully worked out equations for you, and then practice problems with detailed solutions that you do not want to miss. And I have an exclusive giveaway. A lucky winner will be going home with the cash prize of $10. Okay, a challenge is contained inside this ebook. Whoever completes it first and is the first to submit the correct answer on a particular date that has been revealed in this ebook will be the one to walk away with that cash prize. Now, it will not last forever. It is going for the price of just $1. After that, the ebook price goes back to the price of $5 once the giveaway challenge ends, and that is on Thursday, 20th of March 2025. So to get this ebook, scan the barcode on your screen right now or click the link in the description or in my bio. So up next, we're going to be looking at practice problems, and then you can get the step-by-step solutions in the ebook. I'll see you in the next video.